Life can be cruelly unpredictable. What happens when you think you have it all figured out, only to find yourself at a crossroads between love, responsibility, and unexpected circumstances? This story is one of those moments, an unfolding truth that challenges everything you thought you knew. It's a story about a millionaire father, a cleaning lady, and a baby whose innocence unknowingly throws them all into a whirlwind of emotions and revelations. Before we dive into the heart of this tale, take a moment to subscribe to my channel, Whispers of Kindness. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so please like, share, and comment below to let me know what you think of this story. The sound of the soft gurgling water echoed throughout the kitchen. It was an odd harmony against the backdrop of the sterile silence that had dominated the house all morning. The baby, barely a year old, let out a small giggle as the cleaning lady carefully splashed water over his tiny, chubby body. The morning sunlight streamed through the large windows, illuminating the room with a warm, inviting glow. It was a moment of calm, a moment that felt like it had always been part of the routine. But it was not. Today was different. The house, a mansion of opulent luxury, was one of the many reminders of how much had been earned: sweat, tears, and years of relentless work. The floors gleamed with perfection, the countertops were untouched by dust, and the windows sparkled with the clarity of a life that had it all. But there was an emptiness in the air that could not be filled with money. A sense of cold detachment from the very life he had built. And as the baby splashed in the sink, the cleaning lady's hands cradling him with tenderness, that emptiness felt even more tangible. But why was the baby in the sink? Why was the cleaning lady bathing him, instead of the nanny? The truth was simpler than anyone could have guessed. The nanny had called in sick, something that was a rarity in the tightly run household. The millionaire father, James Andrews, was a man whose life had always been built on precision, on every detail being handled with care. There were no mistakes, no accidents. Everything had its place. But when the nanny couldn't come today, and with no backup plan in sight, James had called the cleaning lady, Maria, to step in. Maria was not just an employee. She had been with the family for years, cleaning every corner of their home with dedication and a kind heart. She had a quiet grace, a gentle way of making even the coldest spaces feel warmer. She wasn't just a cleaner, she was a part of their home, though her role was often invisible. As Maria carefully bathed the baby, James stood at the doorway, observing the scene with a frown slowly forming across his face. His immaculate home, his perfectly managed life, this was not how it was supposed to be. He had hired professionals for a reason. The idea that his cleaning lady, of all people, was stepping in to take care of his child, it was unthinkable. The faintest hint of panic rose in his chest as he crossed the room and stopped just behind her. Maria, his voice was low, but sharp, the discomfort in his words evident. What are you doing? Maria didn't flinch. She turned slightly, offering him a smile that seemed to soften the tension in the room. The nanny called in sick, Mr. Andrews. I thought it was safer to keep him in the sink. He's so small, and the sink water is warmer for his delicate skin. It was a quick fix, just to get through until you can arrange a backup. James opened his mouth to argue, to correct her. But something stopped him. It wasn't the fact that she was washing the baby in the sink, he had done more ridiculous things in his life. No, it was the way she spoke, her calm demeanor, the natural ease with which she handled the baby. It was as if she had done this 1,000 times before, as if the house and its million-dollar furniture were just a backdrop to this simple, unassuming task. It was this that unnerved him more than anything. Maria continued, her voice gentle as she glanced up at him. I know it's not ideal, but he's fine, Mr. Andrews. I'm just making sure he's clean and safe. James stood there, his hands clenched by his sides, still not fully sure how to react. His mind raced with all the things he should be doing, calling a replacement nanny, reviewing 1,000 emails for the day, attending meetings. But for a brief moment, he was forced to confront something he had long avoided. He had become a man who relied on systems, who had distanced himself from the raw, human moments of life. His wealth, his business empire, his mansion, none of these things had prepared him for this. He looked down at his baby, who was giggling, unaware of the awkward tension in the air. The sight made him pause, made him reconsider. In that moment, James realized something profound. The things he had thought were important, money, power, status, none of that mattered in this room. What mattered was the simple act of caring, the kindness and warmth Maria was showing his child. She had stepped in, not because it was her job, but because it was what needed to be done. And she had done it with grace, with patience, with love. For the first time in a long while, James felt small. Later that evening, James sat in his study, staring out at the city lights in the distance. His mind wandered back to the scene earlier that day. Maria had bathed the baby in the sink. And in that simple act, she had shown him what real care looked like, unconditional, unplanned, and untainted by the rigid structure he had surrounded himself with. The next morning, he made a decision. He called Maria into his office. "Maria," he began, his voice steady, "I've been thinking. You've been here for years, and you've always done more than your job requires. I want you to take a bigger role in this household. I trust you. More than anyone, I trust you with my family. You'll no longer just be a cleaning lady." Maria looked at him, surprised. "Mr. Andrews, I don't understand." James smiled. "You've shown me what true responsibility looks like. I want you to be the nanny from now on. I want you to be a part of this family in every way." Maria's eyes widened. She had never expected this. She had always been the quiet, behind-the-scenes part of their lives, but this offer, this recognition of her worth, meant more to her than anything. It was a moment of validation she hadn't even realized she needed. As she left his office, her heart lightened. For the first time in years, Maria felt like she belonged, not just as an employee, but as a valued member of the family. James had learned a lesson that day, one that no amount of money could have taught him, that love, kindness, and responsibility could never be measured by titles or salary. This story isn't just about a millionaire father and his cleaning lady. It's about the moments we often overlook, the moments that remind us of what truly matters. It's about the people in our lives who step in when no one else will, who show us that even the smallest acts of care can change the course of our lives. As you reflect on this story, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please comment below and share your feelings on what truly makes a person valuable in the eyes of others. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Whispers of Kindness for more inspiring stories. Remember, it's the little moments, the unspoken acts of kindness, that shape the world we live in. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.